Now, I think, Amanda, you've recently been talking about this with one of your clients, haven't you? It'd be great to. I think he's here today, isn't he?
I have. Yeah, and that's Matt Spencer, who I know is here. And yeah, Matt is the commercial director at Cafe Nero. And you and I were talking about this last week, weren't we? So
Well,
yeah, Kate, what would you like to ask Matt?
Well, I guess I'd like to know. I think you've recently done your map. So I guess I'd like to know what were your impressions? What is it you now know about what motivates you? Any
uh,
surprises as well?
interestingly enough, hello everybody. Hello there. Interestingly enough, I've been doing some work separately with Amanda around motivation and in terms of what's important to me. And it was did the motivational maps only this week, and funnily enough, the same things came through. Um, so I actually had three pretty equal things which came through as my most important motivators. I'm happy to share what they are. It was the star, which is about recognition, status, and such. The spirit, which is about independence, being decisive. So my need is for freedom and autonomy. Who knew? Well, I did, actually. And then the defender, which is about stability, security oriented, and accuracy. So interestingly, I've done an exercise where, and it's quite it's very revealing, because you've got to be really honest with yourself about what is important to you, and it's you, not what other people say you should think is important. It's not what you feel should be important. It's what is actually important to you. And be honest with you. And it's almost like, look, if money is important to you, it's important to you. It doesn't matter what society says. It doesn't matter what your partner says. It doesn't matter what anyone says. If it's important to you, it's important. And it's that honesty piece that can actually reveal those things, which, because you're not being, I guess, true to them, that's where your frustrations can come in. You know,
Exactly that. There's
angry about
honestly
don't know.
such great insight there, Matt. So what I'm hearing in there is, in order to make that invisible piece of motivation, stuff that we may not quite be able to get hold of, although we think we can through some conversations, what you've recognized is how honest you've needed to be. And then once you got that information back, you're able to say, yeah, that I recognize, that makes sense to me. And then the second thing I heard you say there, which I think is so important, isn't it? Sometimes the culture of the business that we work in, or the country in which we are, or our friendship groups, can make us feel like, oh, can't mention that one because that's not what they would say is good. But it's what your fuel is.
Yeah.
It's your fuel. So don't be embarrassed or whatever that, you know, you're motivated by whatever. It's just your fuel. And actually, in the same way as if I'm driving along and I've got a hire car, I want to know, what fuel does it need? I'm not going to go and put diesel, and if it's petrol, it would ruin it. So yeah, really, really great points. Any other insights that you wanted to share from your profile, Matt?
Also, it's, you know, as a result of this kind of insight, or indeed sort of self-analysis, self-awareness, it's actually made me sort of face into some other aspects of sort of the life outside of work as well. And so one of the things I've taken up and really sort of thrown myself into is actual football coaching, or soccer coaching, as I say in the US. So football coaching. So I actually coached my daughter's football team, and I had a lightning bolt moment, probably 2 to 3 matches in, and what I was doing was projecting my what I thought was about what was important to me. Actually, having done this work, what I realised was it wasn't about winning at all costs at all. It was actually where I get the most joy from this now is watching those kids enjoy themselves. That's what I get the most joy out. We happen to be winning. So I'd almost turn the whole thing on its head. And I did that by actually talking to them and saying, look, what do you want to get out of this? And taking it away from me. But then it turned out that exactly what they wanted, what they were looking for, was actually the stuff that's important to me.
Yeah.
I told myself we're here to win. That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. And actually, when I reflect on my motivations, winning's not in there.
No. No, no. In fact, the one we would associate most with winning would probably be Builder. Builder is one of the more competitive ones. That's further down that profile from what you were saying. So what is it about that joy of seeing the kids playing that links to your one of your top 3 motivators, do you think? Can you see that yet, or not?
Yeah, I think it's the, a little bit egotistical, but I'll say it. It's the recognition bit.
Yeah.
It's the recognition bit. They're playing better and they're enjoying themselves more, and they're getting more from it because of what I've brought to the team.
Perfect.
In the nicest possible way, but by doing it in a non-egotistical way. And we're all getting more out of it now.
I think that's so important, isn't it? Because so the reason you're doing that work with those kids outside of work, giving your time, giving your energy, yeah, you could do it because I just want to win this weekend, but for you, that's not it. For you, it's about how can you get the social esteem, the joy of the kids, making you feel good. That's what STAR is. It's how you can make others feel good, which makes you feel good. It's social esteem. That's what STAR is about. And you knowing that means that, as you quite rightly said, you'll be going into those games and motivated to keep going with those games because you recognize it's going to fill you up. It's going to fill up your fuel tank.
Don't we wrong? Still rather win.
And but you know, and if they win, that's a side effect, that's an outcome, but it's not the driver behind it.
No,
and so that, as thank you, Matt, I really appreciate you sharing with all of us this. And as you say, I think it's really important to recognize that when people first start talking about this motivational stuff, they can feel a bit like, oh, I'm not sure. But because of something like Motivational Maps, where you've got a profile, it makes it easier to speak to. In the same way, for those that have done insights discovery on behavior, by having a profile and talking about the colors, it makes it more objective and you can talk around it. And those social norms and those cultural pieces can sort of fall away because it just is. It's written here. You can speak truth to it. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate your insights there.